right, guys, we're here. It's Life N Tymes. Hello, nice to see everybody, guys. We're here with this has been in the runs, guys. This has been on the way. I couldn't wait for this to happen. We're here with somebody that makes probably some of the best. We don't even have a genre yet. It's just great music. That's like the topic of today. It's just great music, great work ethic, amazing all the way through. You know what I'm
Thank
saying?
you.
We have a lot to talk about, so I'm not even going to take too long on the intro, but guys, introduce yourself.
Hi, my name is Raissa, and I'm a pop star.
The best one.
No, thank you.
Wow, probably the first one I've had on here, too. Because
Oh.
I think I have a lot of rappers. Like, I just had a folk singer.
Cool. Well, I'm honored.
Yeah, no, yeah, I'm
you.
on it. And shit, like I said, we talked about doing this for, I don't know how. I mean, like I said, we at least last year, at least like late last year. You know what
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
saying?
yeah.
But no, I'm happy we could make it happen. Like, how are you doing?
I'm good. Yeah. I'm feeling good. I'm about to release a new project, so I'm pretty excited about that.
Oh, I can't wait to get to that. Is it because the last one was just
Thank-
amazing?
thank
Just,
you.
Just a chef kiss. You know what I'm saying? Also, you can find it on the Spotify playlist of Life N Tymes official one. She's all in it. Go find her. It's amazing. But to get this out of the way, because like I said, you got this accent. I didn't know where you were from. I had so many questions. Let's just start from the top and work our way down. You know what I'm saying? So where are you from? Give us his backstory.
Okay, so it's a little long.
Can't wait.
My mom's Spanish, and I was born in Spain. My dad's French and Algerian, so my grandparents are Algerian, and they immigrated to France, and like my dad and his siblings were all born and raised there. And so yeah, I was born in Spain, and when I was 2 months old, I moved to Kuala Lumpur, which is in Malaysia, and then I was there for a year and a half, and then I moved to Beijing. Yes, Beijing for 3 years. Sorry, I got a little lost. And then I moved to Sydney in Australia for 4 years, and then I moved back to Beijing for 2. And then I moved back to Kuala Lumpur, and I was there for like 9 years. And then when I graduated high school, I moved to London to go to art school, and I was there for like 4 years. And then I moved to Los Angeles 3 years ago.
Guys, I mean, you talk about globetrotting. Jesus
Yeah.
Christ.
Yeah.
And the fact is that half of that was all before you got it. I mean, we were out of high school.
Yeah, before I was 18, yeah.
Yeah, that's insane.
Yeah.
I mean, it's crazy because, like I said, when you got here, I was like, the kind of like the triple accent. You can't really hear there's notes of it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I'm like, that's so crazy that you could pick up so much of it, but now it makes sense because those are your developing years.
Exactly.
So all of that is like a melting pot.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? What was it? I mean, what was that like? Like, what was it like being in all these different cultures and places? And also, side note, you said your dad is, what was this, Algerian?
Algerian.
What is?
So Algeria is next to Morocco. It's in North Africa.
So it's African, right?
Yeah. North African. Yeah.
I'm like, I didn't want to say African and be like.
Yeah. No, my dad's my grandparents are African. Yeah.
That's amazing. You know what I'm saying? Shout out. That's great. You know what I'm saying? I just there's so many different areas in Africa. I know the top, but I was like, where?
Yeah,
like,
it's like
sounds African. So I was like, you know what I'm saying? But anyway. Going through it there.
There you go.
You know what I'm saying? But yeah, but what was it like? I mean, living in all these different places and such at a young age too.
Yeah, I mean, it's the only thing I've ever known, so it's like kind of hard to compare it to anything else, but I definitely I feel really grateful that I got to travel so much and experience so many cultures and food and different people at such an early age, and I think it makes me good at understanding people. I think I'm pretty good at understanding people, which I think is what makes me good at my job. And good at songwriting and good at making art. And I think I feel very comfortable in a lot of different environments. I feel very comfortable with all kinds of different people. So I think that in that way it's been super beneficial. But also, there was like a lack of stability that I definitely like now as an adult crave and like want. Like I definitely, want to go on tour and do all of that, but I definitely think a bit more like, okay, well, where do I want to kind of have a home base? And I definitely feel like LA's been that for the last 3 years, but also who knows what the future holds. But I feel really fortunate to have traveled so much growing up.
Yeah, no, I mean, because it's one, everybody wants to say, I wish I just want to go around and travel. It's like, shit, you kind of already did it. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You beat a lot of people to the punch.
Yeah.
But it's one thing to, especially, and you can answer this from an international standpoint, the language barriers. Like you name 3 places that kind of don't I mean, like London and Australia, same thing. But even with that, that's kind of still a different dialect in itself. Like
Yeah.
adapting to that, especially as a young, because like I said, you speak two different languages.
Yeah.
So like how are you navigating like the language part of it?
Yeah, well, when I moved to Beijing, I was really little. I was one and a half. And at the time, I had a nanny, and she only spoke Mandarin. And so I actually spoke Mandarin fluently when I was little. I've forgotten all of it. I don't speak it anymore. If you drop me in the middle of nowhere and I needed like to, figure shit out, I think I'd be good. But like I wouldn't be able to have a conversation or anything. But when I was little, I spoke fluent Mandarin because, I was
That's all
little.
you're around, yeah.
Exactly. I was around someone who spoke it. And when you're that age, you just like pick it up
Soak it in.
like crazy. I mean, in Malaysia, most people speak English
Really?
because it used to be a British colony. It's a Commonwealth country, kind of like India.
India.
So yeah, I mean, the language barrier is definitely a thing, but I think my parents were always really good about like absorbing local culture and having local friends and like, growing up, my parents didn't really like stay within their own like, expat community. They had friends that were from there. We would go, we would do things as if we like were from there, and I think that made it didn't feel like a barrier. You know what I mean?
It just felt like you were just assimilating.
Exactly.
And I think that's the best way to do it. I think, I mean, you hear, I guess there's no real right or wrong way. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? But you do have, the people, especially like in like more of like American culture, you have a lot of people that are in like the military. So like, having kids in the military moves you around a
Right.
lot. So it's so like close knit because you're in like a
Yeah,
military
yeah.
family. So you kind of only deal with military people and
Yeah.
so forth. But I mean, I think in that way, I mean, it just gives you so much more culture and a better outlook.
Yeah, for
You know
sure.
what I'm saying? When you get to 18.
For sure. And I feel like actually people in the US especially always ask me if I was military when I tell them all the places I lived in, which I wasn't. But I think, my dad is an immigrant. My dad was born and raised in France, but my grandparents were immigrants. And my mom was actually born in Venezuela, and because my grandpa immigrated there when he was little. And then she moved back to, my grandparents moved back to Spain when my mom was 14. So I think because my parents had, immigrated themselves, they had this kind of attitude of like, once you get somewhere, you try and like be a part of what's going on as opposed to like be away from
Be
it.
away from it.
So I think, that's just who they are and what they're like. So I think maybe that's how they, approach the situation.
No, and I mean, I think even with that, that's still noble and that's pretty cool. Like, to kind of, I guess in a sense, like continue the tradition of like, my parents moved around and stuff like that. Like, they still have a lust for life in a sense. Like,
Exactly.
which I think that's great. You know what I'm saying? So you get out of high school, say,
Yes.
fuck it, I'm going to London.
Yeah.
Any other European person would do, I guess.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But what was the art school like? Like, what did you study in art school? Like, because I feel like between New York and I feel like London would be probably one of those prestigious type schools too. So what was that like?
Yeah, I mean, I went to Central St. Martin's, which is like pretty well known for fashion. I wasn't a fashion student, but like Alexander McQueen studied there, and like, John Galliano, and like it's like a big like it's really important in women's wear and men's wear as like a school. I was in a different department. I wasn't studying fashion. My degree was called Culture Criticism and Curation, which is like
CC.
yeah, literally it was called BACCC, Bachelor of Arts in CCC. That's what it was called. Yeah, that was the abbreviation we used. And it's kind of like applied art history. So it's like exhibition practice and, cultural criticism. And like a lot of the people that I went to school with have ended up like working in archiving in like museums or like in auction houses or like have ended up in fashion. Like it kind of makes you like prepares you to like be in like the managing of ideas and art and stuff. Yeah, but my attendance was really bad because I was trying to, I like moved to London. I decided to go to art school kind of like at the last minute. I was originally gonna study political science. I'm so glad I didn't. I think it would have made me very sad. But yeah, I moved to London. I started school and I immediately was like, okay, like I grew up in Malaysia. I'd been producing music, writing music on my own since I was 14. Never really considering that as something that was possible for me because like I didn't grow up anywhere that had a music industry. Like my parents don't know anyone. It was just so far removed from who I am, and and like how I grew up. And all of a sudden, I was in London, which is like a huge, cultural like hub, huge like music hub. And I was like, okay, I don't know anyone. I like moved by myself. Like my parents didn't come with me. Like
On
I
your
got
own.
to, yeah, I got to this big city, this big scary city. And I was like, okay, like I need to try and make this work. I don't know how. Like I didn't even know what a producer was until I was 18, like 17 or 18 years old. Um, like because I
Yeah.
didn't, I just didn't know. And I kind of, I actually don't know how I got here. Like when people are like, so how, I'm like, I feel like I just made these decisions on like gut instinct and like kind of blind hope and blind faith that kind of,
Lead you on.
yeah, it's like a
Yeah.
domino effect,
Exactly.
But yeah, I think my time in London was really important, and like, being in school and not going to school, but like,
You got to
gave
do
me,
both.
it gave me, yeah, it gave me time. Like it mainly was time. It gave me so much time to figure out so many things about like what it would be like to have a viable, like career in
Yeah.
music. Um, but it was sick. I'm actually going to London next week, so
Oh shit.
yeah, I haven't been back in a long time. I'm going to see some friends. I'm going for work, but I'll see my little brothers there,
Oh
and
yeah.
yeah, and I'll see some friends, and it'll be good.
No, I mean, hey, I think too. I'm not even gonna harp on you two for not going to school. I mean, you're in London. You know what I'm saying? I feel like at that point you have to. I mean, especially too, to like kind of segue off what that is like. You're going to an art school. I always feel like it's very hard to teach an art. You know
Yeah,
what I'm saying, without kind of going out and applying it. So I mean, it kind of makes sense. You did school to go figure it out. Like, you know what I'm saying? Because even if it weren't to work out, at least you would still be able to finagle and have some type of smarts towards it,
yeah,
or a practical knowledge about it. You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
But I mean that's great. So then after that, after you graduated, I'm guessing. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
So after, what's the next move after school?
After school, well, actually, so I like took a year out before my last year of school, and I started coming out to LA and like trying to like see if I could move here, and like just
Hmm.
I'd never been to LA before, and like making music, just
Yeah,
like
yeah,
figuring,
yeah,
just being, 20, 21 and figuring it out.
yeah.
And then like I re-enrolled in school for my last year, and then COVID hit while I was in my last, yeah, while I was in my last year. But in that time, I released my first song January of 2020. So like
Mm,
literally right before COVID hit, and like there was, everything shut down.
yeah.
And I released 3 songs, January, February, and March. I released a
Back to
song.
back.
3 songs. That's it. Bullying Boys, Valentine on Valentine's Day, and then Angel Energy.
And Bullying Boys was fucking stupid.
Thank you. I love
God.
that song. I still
Everyone
love
does.
that song.
Everyone
Yeah.
loves that song.
Yeah, I think there's something special about that song. I kind of wrote that song at like a moment where I like needed to write something that would kind of pull me out of,
Exactly.
a place that I was in. But yeah, that was while I was still in school, and then like I was able to move to LA because I was offered a record deal that like, and I was able to get my visa, and I moved out here. Eventually, the record deal didn't work out, but like it was a
Hope you get the
really,
visa.
yeah,
Yeah, exactly.
yeah. But it was a really, it was a really positive experience, and I think, this new project that I've been working on, that I'm about to start rolling out, like I think this is the best work I've ever made, and it's like it's what I've always wanted to make, like so badly. I feel like when you're an artist, like you have an idea of what you want to make, and like you're just everything you make until you hit that thing is like in pursuit of that. And I feel like I've finally started like hitting the thing that I've always wanted to make, and I couldn't have made that without,
Exactly. Yeah.
all of
Exactly.
that the whole experience.
The whole line. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, and before you get into that, so it's like, are we? So you get out of school, you're making music in London. Are you already thinking of kind of doing that, or like how did you get from that to like making dropping these songs? You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying?
So the first batch of music I ever put out, I made with one of my best friends who lives in London. His name is Diaco. He actually is mixing this new project.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, and he was a really good friend of mine. I think we met at a time where we were both a little bit depressed and a little lost, and we kind of like
Trauma bonded.
not even
I'm
trauma bonded. Yeah, no.
Yeah,
We
no,
like,
you're good.
yeah. No, I feel you though. No, we kind of like took care of each other and kind of had this like brother sister kind of. He's a little bit older than me, kind of thing. And then I wrote these songs and he produced them out. So that was like kind of
Yeah.
He was the first person I ever worked with. He's still someone that I love to work with. I haven't worked with him for a while because obviously I live here and he's out there.
Definitely.
So that was the first time. And then when I started coming out to LA right before I moved, because I came out, I think, February of that year, and then I was stuck in London until October because of COVID, and then I moved out. I started meeting, producers and stuff because of that music. But yeah, I mean, I think... Sorry, can you repeat that? I totally lost my train of thought.
It's okay. My bad. The trauma bond killed her. My bad.
Yeah.
But I couldn't wait to say it.
Was it? No, it wasn't. It definitely was. I was like, was it a trauma bond? And then I remembered. No, it was a lot of his mom making us home cooked meals and us watching movies and making music without the intention of ever releasing it, which was really nice.
It's always nice.
Yeah.
But no, so I was saying so. Was how did you get to just being okay, I'm about to drop these songs, right, and then get to LA and start going full fledged? You know what I'm saying? What kind of led you to there?
Accident? I kind of just was I don't know. I directed my first music videos for those songs, which I think also it was the first music I'd ever put out. I think I waited for a long time and I was making a lot of music. I made 4 EPs between the time of moving to London, probably even 5, but between the time of moving to London and actually releasing music right before I moved to LA. But I think it just took me a while to figure out something that felt really real for me and not a distraction from what I'm actually interested in and what I actually want to make. I think I was making a lot of music that was good, but it wasn't, making me feel something that's exciting or important.
Tucker, he's no guy that made the
Hi.
He knows about you already.
Yeah, we follow each other on Instagram.
Oh, guys, she just knows everybody fucking here. Hey, I mean, they're rolling for sure,
We're rolling. Hi. Nice to meet you.
My man. Yo, you're good. It's always nice
My
to
manager,
hear from
Kristen.
Hey, Kristen. It's always good to hear from Tucker. A Tucker break is always needed.
Dude, I can't wait for your single.
Yeah, Tuesday.
Wow. See, everybody's on it. Big fucking superstar here, guys.
Hopefully.
I'm trying to tell you.
Fingers crossed.
You know what I mean? I'd have to introduce her to nobody. Everybody knew who she was already.
Oh,
It's
wow.
like, wow. But yeah, no, that's what I'm saying. But it's great to see that it was realized okay, yeah, this is real. The feeling of it is real because there's so many artists that dabble. I mean, though they might be good, you know what I'm saying? It's like you said, it's a distraction for what they actually want to do, or hey, the friends told me I should do it, so I'm just doing it. You know what I'm saying? It felt real to you, so you followed.
Yeah, it felt important, right? Which is that's so tough because the voice inside of you that tells you that something's important is the easiest one to not. It's the quietest one.
Yeah.
It's the one that gets drowned out the easiest. It's the one you get distracted from the easiest. It's the one that you that you ignore the most. Yeah. And so really trying. I felt the reason I released Bullying Boys, and that was my first song that I ever released, was I can't live without someone hearing this, and it doesn't really matter who it is, and making the video for it, and and kind of living that out, and I think
a lot of people heard it.
Yeah, thanks. But
that's great. And then so funneling from that to fast forwarding or not even fast forwarding, like you said, I was always kind of curious too, because I said, we spoke on your music videos before this. I'm like, yo, she has some of the best fucking music videos ever, and that's also why I think the pop bubble doesn't work for you, because it's just so much better than just a pop video.
But I want to push back on that because I feel pop is just such a I think pop is not exclusive. I think that's what's important to me about calling myself pop or calling the music I make pop. And I think, obviously everyone has different interpretations of what that word means and whether it's genre specific or not. But it feels to me it's not about being cool. Well, you know what I mean? It's you don't have, there isn't a,
there's a rule.
You don't have to be something to join, and I've always felt so I wasn't very popular when I was a kid. I was bullied really badly in middle school. I just wasn't cool. And pop music was so accessible to me and so important for me because of that. And I think that's why that's why like I feel like that
Yeah.
label's super important to me, because it's like, well, it's not about anything other than like me doing what I feel is important to me in that moment, and like and like being open to anyone
Yeah.
being part of the ride, you know what I mean? Like I mean, obviously I'm not someone who listens to my music from like an impartial
Yeah,
point
yeah,
of
yeah.
view, so I don't actually know how people are experiencing it, but I would like to think that it's like, I don't think I make anyone feel like they can't fuck with me, you know what I
Nah,
mean?
and
Or like can't aren't something enough to like fuck with me, you know what I mean? And I think that's what pop music is.
no, and in fact, that was a great that was a great rendition. I'm not gonna lie,
Thanks.
but no, and I'm saying it from the standpoint where it's like, no, it's your music's definitely a ride. Like it's very much a roller coaster it's everything is always climaxing. It's getting to the point. It's a great ride.
Thank
You know
you.
what I'm saying? And I say that because the overall consensus of what pop music is varies. Like you
Yeah.
said, and just like anything else, there's a subgenre for a subgenre for a subgenre. But pop in the overview, yeah, you got it. You know what I'm saying? But I'm like, there isn't a genre that fits what you do.
Yeah, I agree with
As
that.
far as like, you know what I'm saying? That's what I'm saying. Like it's very much like something that hasn't been excavated yet.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm like,
Thank
yeah,
you.
you definitely have something going. That's like, yeah, I'm saying your music videos kind of speak that into existence.
Thank
To where
you.
it's like, it's bringing that, like, oh, I wonder what this would like look like, and then here you come bringing on a fucking again. I think it's Blade Runner. I just feel Blade Runner when I watch this shit, but that's just
Thanks.
me.
I think that Blade Runner, the project that I released last year was actually music that I made like 3 years ago. That I wasn't able, that I just didn't get around to releasing, and I kind of like felt like, okay, for me to be able to move on and make the next thing, I kind of have to get this
Drop
out of my
yourself.
get this out of my system, kind of like spiritually like move on from
Yeah.
it. And I was making that music, I was listening to a lot of Gesaffelstein. Or Gesaffelstein.
Just upside,
Yeah, and I was working with this producer Nate Donmoyer, who had worked with him a
Yeah.
lot. So and like and it's like very like industrial, and it has that
Yeah.
kind of like sci-fi
Yeah, like,
thing
that's what
to
I'm
it.
saying, yeah.
Like 1000% Blade Runner is like definitely like I can see.
A good soundtrack. Running
Yeah.
through like when they get to and it's that really tall like holographic lady.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
can feel that just blaring out. You know what I mean? That'd be great.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I'm saying? But it makes sense.
Ghost in the Shell, like very
Ghost in the Shell, yeah.
informed by like anime. Like I'm a huge anime fan. Like and that was
Really?
and that was like
Yeah.
a big, mainly like older anime. Like
Mm-hmm.
I've been kind of watching some newer stuff. My brother's really into like
Yeah.
the newer like mid 2000s, late 2010s stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I mainly watch like like Dirty. Do you know Dirty Pair?
I do.
Yeah, like stuff like that. I used to watch. I haven't watched it in a while, but I would watch stuff like that.
Okay.
So like older kind of like vintage like 70s, 80s, 90s anime.
No, I mean that's amazing. Like I said, it's one thing too, and I mean I think it's a great thing for, again, people like you that do what you do so well, that you have somebody around that could help you morph, mold, and work on a specific sound so well that it nails what you're going for, and then obviously with your half of it just doing exactly what it needs to do to get to that hierarchy or to get to that that ribbon, you know what I'm saying? So, but I said to say though, as far as like your videos go and things like that, how are you going about them? Are you directing them, or how involved are you in them?
So at the time, like I just left my record deal. I had no money basically to spend on anything. So I shot everything on my iPhone.
Really?
I taped a green tablecloth
Uh-huh.
to my bedroom wall with gaffing
Okay.
tape, and I actually ripped a lot of the paint off when
Gaffing
I
tape is
got
no
the
joke.
gaffing tape off. Yeah, and I just like shot everything on iPhone, and then I ripped animation from like a lot of anime that I love to
Yeah.
watch, which is
Places.
there's copyright implications, but it's fine.
Shouldn't say
It's fair use. It's fair use.
Exactly.
no one's gonna watch my video over like an episode of anything. It's like little
Yeah, little exactly. You got it.
clips. But yeah, and
I'll fight for you.
I just like overlaid it to the. I just
Yeah.
literally spent $0 on like 8 music videos,
You
9
edited
music videos. No, my boyfriend did.
Oh, there you go. See,
Yeah.
free labor.
Yeah.
Free fucking labor.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? There you go.
Thanks, Daniel.
Yeah. Shout out to Daniel, wherever you're at.
Yeah.
You're doing a great job.
Yeah.
You know what I mean, but yeah, well, I mean, still, I still think a low budget music video is better than any music video anyway.
Yeah, I feel like if you have an idea, that's good with $10, it'll be good with
A million.
yeah. I think the core thing, I think for me performance is super important, and like the core thing is if I know what I want to do performance wise, then everything else follows, and like kind of you can kind of adjust accordingly. Like I
Yeah.
don't really have like grand music video ideas I don't think I'm,
No, I mean,
that's not where my gut goes. I feel like my gut goes to first like, okay, how do I want to be in this video? Like, how
Yeah.
am I moving? How am I interacting with the camera? Like, what is that about? And then
Yeah.
everything else can come.
it
Like,
comes together after it.
yeah,
I mean, also, your manager could tell me if I could ask this. We can talk about the deal?
yeah, sure.
Yeah, okay, cool. So, because it's very, again, these deals are usually different than, your rap deals and things of that nature. But how did, without saying the name of the brand, how did it kind of not work out, or did they just not know what to do with you, or like how did it go?
Yeah, I feel like it was my first deal ever, and I think there was a combination. I think wrong place, wrong time. I don't think it's necessarily anyone's fault, but I think I learned a lot from it, and I'm glad that it went the way it did. I think it went the way it was supposed to go,
Yeah.
and I don't think I could have made this new project that's coming out
With that.
without that experience. I think it really I had to really soul search for the last year and a half, 2 years of what do I actually care about? What actually makes me tick? Because I had a moment at the beginning of last year where I was like, oh, I don't know if I want to do this anymore. For the first time in my life where I was like, I don't know. It felt like it was and it wasn't even about the deal at all. It was just kind of my own experience, my own relationship to my work and my own relationship to what it's like to be an artist in this day and age. And thinking oh, is this worth it? And what am I doing? And I don't I feel like I don't recognize myself anymore. I don't know what's driving me. I don't know if I'm happy. And I think I needed to kind of get to that place to kind of transform. And it's almost like you're a caterpillar and you
Turn into a
you
butterfly.
cocoon
Yeah.
and maybe I'll come out of this and be a butterfly. Maybe I'll die. It's maybe I'll die in this cocoon. Maybe a bird will swoop down and eat this cocoon, and that is the end of my story.
That's it.
Yeah,
Cut the cocoon down.
but you just gotta hope, and I feel like I needed that cocoon of
Yeah, the tug
pulled
of
in
war.
all these
Yeah.
different directions to kind of be oh no, that's the moment that I started to feel oh, this is exciting, this is fun to me again.
Yeah.
That's when I knew that
It was gonna be for you.
yeah.
I mean, but I feel it's one for actually here that you made it out and then still wanted to do it. You know what I'm saying? Even though it is a rocky situation, especially at the time, because like I said, we're kind of speaking in hindsight here, so I do understand. Now it's a clearer head than it is. Once it happened.
Yeah.
Was it like a distro deal, or was it like a
No,
deal?
it was a record deal, but it was a license deal, so I was able to leave with my masters, which I was really grateful for. And yeah, it was, it just was what it, and I think I think a lot of artists have that,
No, they do.
have that experience. You got to get your first deal out of the way and and feel that through and figure out how you want to move through things, where you want to stand with people. I mean, I was so young, I hadn't done anything. I released three songs.
Yeah.
January, February, March. I signed in April.
Oh yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Up until that point, I was I was honing in my craft, making a bunch of music and stuff like that, but I wasn't interacting with the world. I wasn't releasing music. I wasn't interacting with, other professionals in the music industry. I had no clue about anything. Not in a bad way, but just I didn't know where my boundaries were. I didn't know.
Yeah, exactly.
I kind of had to the only way is through, I kind of had to
That's what
yeah,
I'm saying.
I had to learn who I am in that environment,
Yeah.
and now I think I know who I am in this environment, and that's experience is priceless. You can't you can have people talk to you about things and there's so many things that I had heard that until I experienced them, I couldn't internalize and be okay, right.
Yeah. No, I mean.
Right, that's why people say that. It's not just some cliche. There's some
There's
truth to it.
Yeah. No, I mean, and there usually is, especially with the whole, record and stuff. Was it a deal in the States?
It was in the U.S. Yeah, it was in the U.S.
That's what I'm saying. I was very curious, but but even moving from there, like you said, since all this is happening and all this growth over time, and then we get into this new album. Single drops Tuesday,
Yeah, on
right?
Tuesday, February
What's
27th.
the name of the single?
A la mode.
Ooh, why?
Like, have you ever had like pie with ice cream on it?
Yeah.
And you say like, I'd like an apple pie, a la mode.
No. I've
Yeah,
never
that's
said
what it means.
that.
Next time you go to a diner or anything, like you'll see on the menu it says a la mode.
Really?
But actually, a la mode is French for in fashion.
Really?
So like, I'll have a apple pie in I don't know. There's just like,
That's fire.
yeah, à la mode means like if you in France, if you say ah oui c'est à la mode, you'll be like, oh yeah, it's in fashion. It's like trendy. It's cool. If you say that something's trendy, you'll say it's à la mode. You know.
Ah.
So I don't know. I just like felt like I had the words. I like my pies a la mode like in my notes for like a year, like as like a funny thing. And I don't know. It's like sassy. Like this project is very like celebratory and like joyful in a way that I think I've never been able to be before in my music. And it's like the most involved I've ever been in production. Like I've co-produced basically every song on the project. I've been working with Evan Voitis. Shout out Evan. I love him so much. Like I feel like my my working relationship with him has really been really healthy for me.
Yeah.
And like really brought out the best in me as an artist, and I'm super grateful.
What's can we get the name of the album? What's it?
Not yet.
I feel like
Not yet.
oh
Stay tuned.
can I know it after?
Yeah, I'll tell you
Okay,
after.
cool. All right.
You just can't tell anyone.
That's
You
why
know, my
I'm
millions of fans are waiting
I got you.
The
Don't
title.
worry.
for the title.
But no, that's great. And you said you've been working on it for how long?
I started working on it properly end of April of last year.
Oh shit! So you coming up on a year,
Yeah.
and then
But like I've made like an album's worth of music.
you got to cut it down or something.
Yeah. I'm kind of like releasing it as like
Yeah.
like chapters.
Chapters.
Yeah.
That's fire though.
Yeah, thank
This is-
you.
And like I said, so this is like gonna be like your top tier.
I think this is the best I've ever made. I think I can even go better, that would be great.
I mean, I'm sure you can.
But
like,
I think it's the most like on like just on like I'm hitting the bullseye. It feels so good. I feel like I'm I'm in control, like, and not in a controlling way. I'm like in the eye of the storm in like a good way, and I feel in control of myself, and it's like embodied, and it's about, I think the best way I can describe it is I was so tired of like living from the neck up, like living in my head. I feel like I was making music from being in like from a place of being in my head. I was writing from a place of being in my head. I was getting dressed from a place of being in my head. I was interacting with people. Like I was just like up here. And I had this moment where I was like, oh, like I want to live like from the neck down. Like I want to like do things that feel good. I want to feel my way through things. I want to like reconnect with like my physical body. I feel like we live in a world like social media and being on our phones and just like the way the world works, it just like demands of us to constantly have like a little chatterbrain just like on 24/7. And we're so disconnected from nature. We're disconnected from like our bodies. We're disconnected. Like I go to parties and no one's dancing and I'm like, what the hell?
nah, it's not cool
What
to
the hell?
dance no
And
more.
then
You
the
know
DJ's
that.
skipping through songs way too fast because no one's dancing, and I'm like, no, the problem is not the songs you're picking. The problem is that no one's dancing.
No, you're not wrong. I think I haven't been to a party with anybody dancing forever.
Oh, I now just like me and my good friend, we just go and we just dance. Like everyone's standing around and we just dance like completely unapologetically, like just dance. And then and then an hour later, there's like the dance floor is full. You just gotta do it. People are just too scared. You just gotta make people feel like they don't have to be the first one.
Everybody's so cool nowadays. That's what I'm saying. Too,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? But that's fire though. You know what I mean? But now at least you say you're making a shift and it's rippling through everything that you're doing in your life. And most importantly, your music is changing for the better, or not changing, but it's upgrading,
developing. Yeah.
developing. So and also I kind of thought it was interesting too. Like so your I would say your fan base is everywhere, but literally, but you were, talking about, when you're making music or working on music in London and things like that, and you're talking about the music out there, like, what's the shift feel like, being in London, being that music scene, and then coming out here, and then, it being like a totally different thing, like, or is it, like, how off it's too?
Yeah, that's an interesting question, and I feel like people ask me that a lot. But the thing is, like, I basically just worked with my friend the whole time I lived in London because I didn't know anyone else. You know what I mean? So I feel like I didn't I didn't really get to experience what it is to like be in the scene, in the studios, and like in the in the circuit in London the way that I know what it's like in LA. From what I can I do have friends that are part of the circuit, and they're all like very soulful and like very talented and very connected to like the craft in a way that LA definitely has that. I don't want to knock LA. I think there's so many talented people, but I think maybe people here are a little bit more like hyper aware of stuff like TikTok and like, and like that's kind of like, because so much of the industry is here, so it's like unavoidable that that's going to seep into the studio for some people.
Yeah.
So I do get the sense, I'm not 100% sure, I do get the sense that maybe like that feels a little bit more removed in London because I think the scene is smaller. There's like less money, like you're in Europe. I think it's like slightly, I think it's just like it feels a little bit more cozy. Is that the right word? In a good way.
Cozy felt right, yeah.
In a good way, I think.
Yeah.
But also like I don't actually fully know.
No, I mean, I think, because, like, listen, I guess my angle is, like, you're right, it's smaller. Mind you, though, it's a hub here. Same thing if you went to, New York, or you went to, like, certain places in Florida or Atlanta. Like, you have, studio sessions that are filled with, people that are either on their way up or, whatever, filled with A&Rs and so on and so forth. Then if you go to, like, fucking Kansas, no hating on Kansas or Middle America. We love Middle America. But I would feel like London would be something more like that, where it's more a hub of your, known people here and there, but it's cozier. It's, I can go to a studio and not have to hear about, oh, did you post on TikTok today, or how many times it would just be more working and keeping your head down situation.
Yeah.
And then going to LA and trying, and then rolling the dice, what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
and also like I might be wrong. You know what I mean? Like I
Yeah,
might also
not.
I might also like do a bunch of sessions and be like, oh my god, it's exactly the same. Like not in a bad way, but like it's not that different. But yeah, I don't know. I think the fact that it's funny that you mentioned New York. I think the biggest difference between LA, like the music scene, in a place like LA and London, actually is the way the city's set up.
Yeah.
Like LA is an entertainment city. Like so many people here are either working in film and TV and something related to that. Like when there was the strike last year, like you could feel it. You know what I mean? Like it's like the whole city like feels different. I think a place like London, there's so much other stuff going on.
Yeah.
Like that. I think that's definitely going to affect what it's like to be being a working creative there, because you're not. My really good friends in London, like one of them's a teacher, like, it's like stuff like that. Whereas I feel like in LA, like way more of my people are like freelance, like creatives,
Same thing.
Whereas in London, I felt like I had more like a mix of things, but it's just because the city's set up different. And I think that definitely is going to play a role,
No, I mean, I think you're right. I mean, you don't really find too many people that are, I guess, having, I won't say smaller jobs, but like your regular type stuff, you know what I'm saying? Or having a career that isn't like, I'm going out here and try to be a photographer. I'm or, X, Y, and Z. So, I mean, no, you're not wrong. You know what I'm saying? I just, like I said, it's one of those things that, you kind of always speculate because, even with like, I guess you look at like, your Central Seas and stuff like that, where it's like, oh, well, he's the Drake of like overseas. Yeah. And it's like, well, what the fuck does that mean? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I mean? Because it's like, he's just the biggest one out there, and it's like
I didn't realize people were comparing him to Drake. Really?
Yeah, because you're, I mean, regardless of the money and things of that nature, I mean, hits wise and stuff.
I mean, he's sick.
That.
He's sick,
No,
and I love his EP with Dave. I love Dave. I think Dave is sick.
Yeah, Dave was amazing.
Yeah, he's great.
Top 5. You know what I'm saying?
As
far as like the UK people go.
Yeah.
But it's one of those things where it's like they're looking at him like, okay, like that's the the height, say that you can get to being in the UK and stuff like that. So, but it's like
you've got Dua though, you've got Adele.
Yeah, but I'm more or less talking for this I'm gonna say age group, but this like generation.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Because I mean everything kind of would start or stop with Drake.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So like you have your Adeles and stuff like that. And
but that's
also,
pre,
That's pre, but also too like that is a very specific, very. And not to hate or sound crazy and like that, but that's a very like, there's a machine for things like that. You know what I'm saying? She makes a very specific type of music. She's an amazing singer and stuff like that. But it was easier, not easier, but it was a different time back in the day. You know what I'm saying? But when you
I
look
see what
at,
you mean.
you know what I'm saying? Like I don't have there's a way to say it, but I don't want to. It's gonna sound crazy. It's lack of a better term. You know what I'm saying? So, but again, nothing taken away from that lady. I love Adele. Please
Yeah.
don't see this and like hate me. I promise. I
No,
love
she's
her.
a queen.
She's a great person.
She's an incredible
know?
songwriter, singer, performer.
Yeah, but you see like somebody like Central C that kind of came out of nowhere as far as making it over here.
Yeah, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And then it's like, then our people going over there and to go shoot his music videos and stuff like that and immersing in that culture, which is great. But it's like he's the only one that was.
Yes, Pink Pantheress would be another example.
She is from London, isn't
Yeah.
she? Yeah.
I don't know if she's from London, but she's from the UK. She might be from London. I'm just not sure.
I'm not sure either. Kind of, let's fuck that.
She definitely blew up like in London. Like
She was out for a really.
she
but
like lives there now. I think.
She's been out for a long time too. Like I
Yeah,
feel
like
But that's what I'm saying.
right before Central C, and they had that single together just
Yeah,
recently on
that's
her
what I'm saying.
new project.
Like those two, as far as both genres that they got, that's it. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? And not saying that's it as if there's nobody else, but it's like that's it as far as like top of the totem pole. Like they're kind of trend setting their way.
I'm trying to
everybody else
think
can,
though, like who do you think the equivalent in the US is?
I mean, to Pink Panthers would be what? It would be like Ice Spice or some shit like that.
Yeah.
Because I mean, not to say that just because they have the song together, but
It like
it's like,
doesn't feel like there's that many things like going, like breaking in the US either, no?
there isn't, and
Yeah.
it's because now I might have to cut this out, but it's because now everyone like none of these labels and nobody knows who's breaking anymore.
Right.
TikTok kind of destroyed that because now if you go viral for a song and the song gets 1 million plays in a day or whatever like that, you're automatically gonna get the looks and stuff like that. Especially if you follow it up with another song, then yeah, but it's gonna go crazy. TikTok right now is kind of dictating what's gonna pop. If it pops on TikTok, it's gonna pop in real life. You know what I'm saying? You're gonna go up, or you're gonna get signed. You're gonna have these situations as long as you could back it up. So, but I feel like TikTok kind of destroyed that as far as like your regular talent searching and stuff like that. Like, don't get me wrong, there is still a lot of talent that rises to the top. But as far as like your regular label searches or your kind of like Ice Spices and things of that nature, all that type of stuff blew up on TikTok and on Twitter. You know what I'm saying? She had been out for years, and people was
I
making
didn't know
fun of her
that.
and all type of shit like that. And then all of a sudden, somehow she got a little engine behind her and got some money through on her, and now she's getting right. You know what I'm saying? So it's a weird thing. You know what I'm saying? But as of that, that's why you kind of have to expand your music taste and look everywhere. Because, if you pay attention to rap too much, then, you're going to kind of be in a box. So that's why I'm saying you listen to the, your people in the UK, you listen to you and people like that. It's like, okay, there is still some hope out here.
Oh,
We're
thanks.
just waiting for people to get right. But that's kind of the trajectory or how it's been going. Because, I mean, 1 million views or 50 million views on TikTok. Like that one guy, I'm not going to say the song on here because I'll probably get copyright strike. But he just blew up. Everybody's doing his little song right now, and then a scandal broke out, and then he did another song that was really good. So it's like, well, he's out. He's gonna make it out. He got it. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, but it's all off TikTok. You know what I'm saying? So it's
Yeah.
a slippery slope. You know what I'm saying? But
Yeah.
but to wrap it up, you know what I'm saying? You're making great stuff.
Thank you.
Very, 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 very excited to hear this new single.
Thank you. I hope you like it.
Tuesday, a la mode.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Now we know how to say it.
Yeah, next time you go and you fancy a slice of pie with some ice cream on it, you look at your waiter or waitress and you say, I would like a slice of pie a la mode.
I really want to know where I could get a slice of pie at.
At I don't know, like a
like-
Mel's. You could go Mel's
you could go to
Diner.
Mel's.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mel's would definitely have apple pie a la mode, cherry pie a la mode.
You should just have everybody make a
Absolutely.
challenge. Just
Absolutely.
Have them record their waitress asking for the a la mode song with the song in the back. That'd be fire. But
Write that down, Krista.
get it in there. But any last words before we get out of here?
Yeah, well, thank you so much for having me. It's really nice, to be able to sit down and like talk as opposed to you don't really get the opportunity to, have this kind of format all the time, which is great. And yeah, I'm really excited for this new chapter in my career, and I hope you'll be along for the ride.
I'm right here. I support you all the way, man. Like I said,
Thank you. I
you're
appreciate
doing
it.
great. I'm happy to see what's going on. It's different. It's a fresh, it's a breath of fresh air. You know what I'm saying? In what's going on nowadays. And like I said, as long as you just be consistent, I'm with it. You know what I'm saying? Definitely gonna have a home over here. You know what I'm saying? On this
Thank
side.
you. Appreciate it.
Hey, no problem. Well, guys, this has been Lyfe N Tymes with
Raissa.
Bow.
Stuck inside a house on a Nintendo, lighting the screen up bright with the rainbow, serving ratios up by the kilo. It can't be good for my ego.